How can I what my understanding is, to get in that receiving mode, I need to feel better vibrationally to be able to see.
To get in the receiving mode, you have to put the umbrella down that's blocking it. It's there unless you're doing something that keeps you from receiving.
Well,
did you hear that? Before you move on, just take that in.
What's blocking it?
Not so much what's blocking it, but that something is. So when you don't do that thing you're doing, then you get into the receiving mode. So the thing is, we don't want you to fixate or even try to ferret out what it is. We just want you to recognize when you're doing it and then try to do something else. But if you let too much momentum go before you're aware, then you can't let it go. Law of attraction won't let you. So you have to catch it in the early subtle stages. So the answer to your question is, you have to realize that the receiving mode is always being broadcast to you. And if you've got your umbrella up that's blocking it, then there's negative emotion present to let you know you're doing it. If you catch that in the early subtler stages, then you can turn your attention to something that doesn't block it. And as you begin to repeat that pattern, unblock, 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 no longer block, no longer block, no longer block, no longer block, then the receiving mode becomes steadier and surer and more reliable. You begin to trust it more and more and more. Until you do some of that, nothing that we say is going to make any real sense to you. You're just going to argue with us.
No, well, I agree with you. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue at all, but my vortex is over there, and honestly, I feel thankful and full of gratitude that I don't feel like I used to feel. I'm happy. I feel relieved that I don't feel bad anymore inside. And if that's the case, and I feel happy.
Let us say something to you, because you're in this open place where you're really going to hear this. As relief is to despair, ecstasy is to relief. In other words, there's so much more good stuff for you. And that's what you want. That's the desire that is rampant within you.
So why can't I see what's in there? When will I see what's in the vortex?
When you get past relief.
So it's okay
and
to just feel relief
mode,
right now?
Because relief is on the path. And what you just said, those were the perfect, most productive words that you could ever say. I feel so much better where I am. For a while, Esther was saying things like, it just feels good not to be sad all the time.
Yes, that's how I feel.
It feels good. It's certainly not enough, but thanks for that. Yeah.
So to feel that ecstasy, right?
Or clarity. Or friskiness or vitality.
Or something, to feel something, okay? Because my biggest thing that I honestly feel when I feel something is just when I see the sunrise and the sunset, and it's the only thing really in my life that I feel sort of moved by. Everything else just pales.
But what you're doing, this is you putting your umbrella back up.
Is it?
This conversation is you putting your umbrella back up, because you're talking about what you're not feeling and how you don't feel.
Well, that's the only thing I feel, though.
But no, that's not true, because just a minute ago you told us you felt relief, and that's far different. You were feeling the relationship between despair and relief.
Right.
That was moving in the right direction. That was umbrella down. That was on your path. But now the statements that you're making are contrary to that. It's like you've turned in the opposite direction.
But which feeling will show me what's in my vortex? Relief or what I feel in the sunrise? I mean, and if you say, I know you're feeling happy or raise my vibration, it's like, well, what will make me feel better? Because if that's the only thing that I really feel better over, then what else is there to feel better about?
You're right, life sucks.
And isn't the things that are in the vortex just on my ego stuff anyway? And is that really my truth?
In your vortex is clarity, in your vortex is knowing, in your vortex is the vibration of who you are, in the vortex is everything you become, in your vortex is all that you've become, in your vortex is the source within you, in your vortex is clarity, in your vortex is absolute awareness of worthiness. In other words, don't downplay your vortex just because you can't see it. So try to muster a little faith about it.
So technically it's like that's who I really am, is in the vortex.
Yeah, but because of people just like you, who we adore, We are not talking so much about the vortex. We're talking more about the path. Because so many of you, we kept saying, get into the vortex, get into the vortex, get into the vortex. And then you start saying, well, how do I get in? How do I get in? It was an analogy to help you realize that you're wanting to achieve vibrational alignment with it. So we began saying it in a way that maybe you could hear better, that it's calling you, and you don't have to get all the way in order to feel better. You just have to move in the direction of it. You just have to let your path call you instead of being resistant to your path. Some years ago, when we were talking about the emotional scale, and we were talking about despair, and we were talking about if you're in despair and you find revenge is an improvement over despair.
Right.
Now, most people would not encourage revenge because they liked you better when you were depressed and left them alone. But now you're in rage and resentment and revenge. Now you're a problem to them. But we encourage the improvement in the way you feel. But we don't want you to stay in revenge or in guardedness or in fear. We want you to move into more and more ease, into more and more relief, into more and more hopefulness. We don't even want you to stay in hope very long. Hope is full of resistance. Hope is, I want it, but that's what hope is. Hope's got all kinds of resistance.
Don't like hope. I don't. I've learned not to hope.
Just listen to us just for a little bit further here, because we're making a very strong association for you that this emotional scale that we're wanting you to allow yourself to move up, and like the cork that floats when you stop holding it under the water, your vibration will raise when you stop beating the drum of the things that are keeping you active in a vibration that is not serving you. So the relationship of your vibration raising up the emotional scale and this allowing yourself to move in the direction of your path is the same analogy, just told in a different way. So here's some questions for you, and as you answer them, you'll feel better, because we know you know the answers. If we didn't know that you know the answer, we wouldn't ask the question. So you know the answers to these, and it will lead you into what you're reaching for. Is anyone wondering why she's back in the chair today? The reason that she's back in the chair today is because her desire is proportionately so much stronger than her resistance, because she's on the brink of releasing resistance, and she represents every one of you relative to something, where there's something that you really, really want that you are disallowing seemingly stubbornly. It's not a deliberate attempt to block what is wanted. It's a pattern of thought that is blocking what is wanted. So since she is on the brink of a breakthrough in understanding, and it will facilitate everyone, we think it is worth doing.
Thank you.
So, do you agree that there are two vibrational aspects of you or anyone?
Yes.
So you acknowledge that you have an inner being.
Yes.
And you acknowledge that you came from that, but that currently exists.
Oh, absolutely.
And do you agree that through life you have asked for more than you've allowed yourself to receive?
Yeah.
And so, do you believe that you have asked for more than your inner being has received? In other words, do you believe that your inner being has received the things that you're asking for, even though you, like almost everybody else, has been blocking it from yourself?
Yes.
So, you agree that your inner being is over there with all your stuff.
Right.
And completely fixated on you, calling you, loving you, knowing you, encouraging you, not watching for the right moment, because never not offering it if it's not a right moment. In other words, your inner being is saying, oh yeah, give it to her now. She's ready now. Your inner being is just always flowing it, always being it, always calling you. And in your occasional relaxing, you move a little bit toward it. But then you get your monkey mind in there and you reason yourself into resistance, and then you don't feel the flow anymore. So it's really about agreeing or acknowledging that Source is calling you, aware of you, loving you, calling you, and that often you are feeling the impulse and you are going. The less you focus on those moments when you know for sure you're not doing it, and that's what almost every word that you offer to us in the form of a question is about. It's like you saying to us over and over and over again, but why aren't I moving in? Why am I not getting further? That's the answer to the question. The question is the answer to itself. I'm not going because I keep asking why I'm not going. I'm not going because I keep asking why I'm not there. And what we want to convey to you in a way that you can really feel it is that you are going and that you are there. You are going and you are there. You are going. You are going. You're often there. You're closer to a longer sustaining of it every day.
Okay.
And so do you agree that your inner being is aware of you?
Yes.
And do you agree that your inner being is calling you?
Yes.
And do you agree that sometimes you hear it? And do you agree that when you're out there enjoying the sunrise or the sunset, that you're really hearing it?
Really?
So, yes.